Hey everyone, this is Heidi with Hush Hush Magazine, and today I'm going to give you guys some information about downtown LA. People really loved the overall Los Angeles map tour that I did before, and so I thought it might be interesting to zoom into a couple of neighborhoods that people might not know that much about, starting with downtown LA. So let's get into it. So hopefully at this point you guys can see my screen. I have put in here downtown LA, and so you should see downtown Los Angeles in the middle of this map on Google Maps. So as you can see, downtown Los Angeles is pretty centrally located. It is in between East LA or East Side, East of LA, whatever you want to call it, the Pasadena, Monterey Park area. It's more south than the stuff in the north, like Griffith and Griffith Observatory, Hollywood area, Burbank area, Hollywood, whatever, Van Nuys, Sherman Oaks. It is close to what I think is called, Mid-City, Fairfax area, which is also kind of centrally located. You have the west side over here with Santa Monica, Venice, Marina, etc. And then you have the south side with Southgate, Compton, etc. So it's one of, to me, like the pros of being in downtown LA. If you want to be relatively close to everywhere and be able to get everywhere in about 20 to 40 minutes max, then downtown LA or the surrounding area around downtown LA is a great spot to be in. You guys will also see that there are a gazillion highways in the Los Angeles area, and most of them pass through downtown LA. You can see the 10 goes through here, the 110 goes through here, the 5, the 101. And I feel like there was one more, but maybe that's it. Oh, you have the 60 over here. So literally that's like all the major highways. The only one that I think doesn't go through here is the 405, which is more like it goes more towards the, I'm blanking right now on what you call this area up here, the valley. The 405 goes more towards the valley, so it doesn't hit downtown LA. The one obviously stays on the Pacific. Anyway, like highways are a big part of LA culture, so I've gotten really into it. So just showing off that I know what's going on for once. But that said, let me give you guys a brief tour of the different parts of downtown LA. Downtown LA, relatively speaking, it looks pretty small. But to give you guys an idea, you can't actually walk through this entire downtown LA area in less than, I would say you'd probably need at least an hour and a half to go from like one side here to the other. To give you guys an idea, maybe to go from the Crypto.com arena to this freehand Los Angeles hotel, which is maybe like, what is that? Maybe like 10 blocks or so. That would take me about 15 to 20 minutes, just these 10 blocks here. So yeah, you can see why this whole thing will end up being an hour to an hour and a half, especially if you're going from like the convention center all the way over to this other side where you have the arts district. So it is a pretty sizable area. I will also let you guys know that downtown LA is where you have Skid Row. I don't know if you're familiar with Skid Row, but it's basically where you have a lot of homeless encampments. And as you can see, it's actually a pretty sizable area right in the middle of downtown LA. So that's another reason why logistically you might not want to even walk all the way from one side of downtown LA to the other, because you do have Skid Row in the middle. And especially in the evening, if you don't have a sidewalk to even walk on, and even if you did, there's a lot of, strange activity that you may or may not feel safe around that happens there. So people or let me speak for myself, I don't typically walk around there. But that said, I think there are basically, let's see, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I would say there are basically like 4 main residential neighborhoods to downtown LA. If I'm missing anything, please let me know in the comments, but I'm just out here doing my best to inform people of the stuff that I know. So you have what is called the South Park neighborhood. Let me start there. And in the middle of the South Park neighborhood, you have the Crypto.com Arena, which used to be the Staples Center. And around this area, you will find all sorts of super nice luxury apartments. It's a super, let me not say super bougie, but basically it kind of is. Like a 1-bedroom in this area could easily start at $3,000. And so it is one of the nicest parts, if not the nicest part of downtown LA to live in. And not just downtown LA, I would say of this whole like central LA area, personally speaking, but I might be biased. But yeah, there are a lot of lovely apartments around here. You have the Staples Center, you have LA Live, you have a bunch of restaurants that are around this LA Live area. For example, Katsuya, or there's a soul food restaurant that's not showing up here right now called Pickings, or Fixings rather, that's really good. You have Yard House, you have Smash Burger, rum bars, you have like places with like really good tacos, like you have the Capitol Grill. You have just like a plethora of options when it comes to eating and dining out and being out. You can see Microsoft Theaters over here as well, Ritz-Carlton's over here as well, got an IMAX theater over here as well. So there are just tons of cool hotels, cool restaurants, cool things to do. There's a bowling alley, like pretty much anything you could think of doing, you have it. And then on top of that, in this South Park area, you also have a bit of shopping as well. You have to go a little bit lower towards 7th Street. But you have the 7th at Fig shopping mall. And then you also have another shopping mall called The Block. That's more towards, what street is this? 8th Street. So between 7th at Fig and The Block, you have shops like Macy's, Nordstrom, Zara, H&M, Forever 21, Nordstrom Rack, like whatever you can think of, like Target, like whatever things you need, they have it there. And then you have even more restaurants, Jinya Ramen, Sugarfish, really good sushi, Bottega Louie, like it's just a lot of things to do. And so this South Park area is super dope and highly recommend that anyone that wants to feel like they're living in an actual city, in an actual downtown, especially if you're moving from a place like Chicago or New York and you don't want to feel like you're living in the middle of a suburb, which like honestly is how most of LA kind of feels, then South Park part of downtown LA is really, really great. Then the other part next to the South Park area is what I think is called like historic downtown LA, but I'm not really sure. I saw it referenced that way. Sometime you can see here it says historic core, so let's just go with it. Historic core, historic downtown LA, and it's characterized by all these like old buildings that are known for different things, like the Bradbury Building, which apparently is like a unique structure with a Victorian center court and birdcage elevators. Angel Flight Railway. You have the Broad Museum, which is super awesome museum in downtown LA. You also have the Museum of Contemporary Art. You have the One California Plaza. You have the Los Angeles City Hall. So it kind of makes sense, like why it's called the historic area. One of my favorite things to do in this part of downtown LA is go to the Grand Central Market. They have all these different vendors and restaurants all in one place. And it's kind of like a 3-story building with just like so many different good foods and drinks and all sorts of things. And I have a friend who's obsessed with this herbal lemonade that they sell there. They just have really good stuff. So definitely check that out. And then next to that, you have Little Tokyo Chinatown, which I kind of grouped together as its own little neighborhood, even though it's technically like right next to the historic core. But they do have a different vibe because, you know, everything's going to be like Japanese themed, Chinese themed, lots of Asian restaurants and grocery stores and stuff like that. And so that's that neighborhood. There's not that much to say about Little Tokyo and Chinatown. The buildings are not going to be as new. So things are a little bit older. It's a little bit quieter. But, you know, it's a simple part of town. I don't know. I think it's relatively walkable. It's cool they have Union Station over there, so you can actually take what they call the flyaway bus from there to LAX airport. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't have that much more to add about Little Tokyo Chinatown, but if you guys know more, I want to share more, add it in the comments. And then from there, you have my second next like favorite part of downtown LA, which is the Arts District, which is basically like this whole section here, going from right next to Little Tokyo, where you have Earth Cafe, all the way to where you see Road Downtown LA, Smorgasburg, this whole section here. And it's basically kind of like a Williamsburg vibe. In downtown LA, you have a lot of brick buildings. You have a lot of just like, you know, art and murals and restored like, you know, things or repurposed buildings. Like you can see here, Arts District Firehouse Hotel, which I assume they turned a firehouse into a hotel. And they have just like a lot of really good restaurants. Some of them are pricey, of course, but they're really good. So for example, you have, what are some of the restaurants that are out here that I've had before? I'm actually not recognizing any of these, but I can definitely say like Row and Smorgasburg is incredible. It took me a long time to even find out about it, but they basically have like, I want to say maybe like 50 vendors that come from all over the Southern California area to this weekly market every Sunday, and they just serve really amazing food. So it's super cool. I know that there's a restaurant that's by a famous restaurateur called, I want to say Dome or Domus. Is it Domus or is it Dom? I'm not remembering. But let me just type restaurants here and see what starts to come up, because for some reason my mind is just blanking. Why is it not showing the ones around here? Okay, you have Bavel, which is really good Mediterranean food. Maybe it's Domus. Okay, I should just give up. I'm not gonna remember. But you have Damien, Bavel, Girl and the Goat is good. Gorilla Tacos is good. They just have a bunch of good restaurants, and if you just walk around the area, you'll see like Bestia or Bestia, I don't know how you pronounce it. That's supposed to be really famous and popular. So yeah, I would just encourage you to just walk around this area and get a feel, but it's really cool. And a lot of the apartments that you'll find in this part of town will be more lofts and more artsy, like arts oriented. It's really truly like a Williamsburg, like, you know, copy. So if you like that kind of like hipster, artsy, slightly overpriced, weird stuff vibe, then Arts District is definitely for you. Trying to think if there's anything else. So there are some other neighborhoods in downtown LA, like the Fashion District / Toy District. but I don't think people really live in the fashion district. There are some apartments there, but it's a very commercial area. They have Santee Alley here, they have Flower District here. They have a bunch of like wholesale vendors who will sell fabrics or jewelry. The jewelry district's around there as well. Fabrics, jewelry, shoes, flowers, just a bunch of different things. And so it has more of that commercial vibe to it. So I don't think it would be necessarily enjoyable to live in that part of town. I know they also do have a lot of like low income housing in that area as well. And so it's not necessarily like the coolest part of downtown LA to live in, but maybe you might see some apartments there that are cheap or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to share about downtown LA. You'll hear people kind of like speak negatively on downtown LA, I think because they're thinking of like, 5+ years ago when it was kind of an abandoned part of Los Angeles that hadn't really been developed that much and there wasn't that much there to go and do. But a lot has changed even in these past like couple of years that I've been in LA. There's been like multiple reasons to come downtown, and people have come downtown multiple times to either go to some of these restaurants, go to the theater, go to a show or a game, or just hang out or go shopping. So definitely encourage you guys to consider downtown LA, like I said, if you want to stay central. And the other thing I should add is downtown LA is super diverse. Between all these different neighborhoods, you have pretty sizable Asian populations. You have a lot of Black professionals in the South Park area. And then you just have like different types of creatives in the arts district. And so that makes it a mix of so many different types of people, which I think is super cool. Besides that, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, downtown LA is dope. You're close to a bunch of other neighborhoods, USC, Koreatown, Echo Park, Silver Lake. Like, it's just really cool. And let me know if there's anything you guys want to know about downtown LA or which neighborhood I should focus on for the next video.